Throughout the ages of the action movie genre, there's been a constant look to the heroes of these stories. You've got Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator or Commando or Predator, Sylvester Stallone in the Rambo series, and let's not forget Dolph Lundgren, Wesley Snipes, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Mel Gibson, Jason Statham, or basically anyone that ended up in the Expendables movies 20 years after their prime. And what about the stars of today? Well, I can tell you not much has changed. Just take a look at any of the films The Rock is in, or what about Chris Evans, or Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Christopher Plummer? Maybe not that last one. Now I want to show you something else. Let's say you had a list of all of Liam Neeson's films, starting with his first credited film role in 1978 with Pilgrim's Progress, which I would not recommend watching, all the way up until his most recent film, the 2020 Oscar-nominated Honest Thief. Now, have a look at all his films previous to 2008. Do you know how many action films he's in? About one. The Sam Raimi directed film Darkman. Pretty good movie. It's not bad, worth a watch. You could also say maybe Batman Begins, but he's not really the action star of the film, and not really an action film in the way that I'm thinking either. That's more a superhero film. You know what I mean, yeah? Now, if we take a look after 2008, do you know how many films we get? We get Taken, Clash of the Titans, The A-Team, The Next 3 Days, Unknown, The Grey, Wrath of the Titans, Battleship, Taken 2, Non-Stop, A Walk Among the Tombstones, Taken 3, Run All Night, The Commuter, Widows, Cold Pursuit, and Honest Thief. We get 17 films. 17 action films after 2008. So what was the turning point? Well, if we take a look at the year 2008, we get one very important film in Liam's filmography. Taken.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
So, it's not often you get actors reaching a new level of breakout success at this point in their career, this fine old age. So what was the tipping point? Well, to get to the bottom of this story, we really need to go back in time. We need to play some 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon here and go back to Paris in the 80s and figure out how we went from this to this. Now, if we go to the IMDb page of Taken, you can see 2 very important names. The first is Pierre Morel, and the second and more important of the 2 is Luc Besson. Now, if you don't know who Luc Besson is, do yourself a favor and go through his filmography. I'd absolutely recommend movies like Leon the Professional, La Femme Nikita, and of course probably his most well-known film, The Fifth Element. But whatever you do, don't watch anything further than that unless you enjoy making your eyeballs bleed.
Freddie Highmore, Mia Farrow, Madonna, Snoop Dogg, and David Bowie.
You will be sorry that you defied Malthazar.
4 of you attacking 1 woman. Aren't you ashamed?
Nope. No.
Whoa.
Arthur and the Invisibles.
Sadly, he hasn't really done anything that good. If you still believe in Rotten Tomatoes, his last few films have done not that well. And his best film in the last 20 years is that one where Scarlett Johansson takes some drugs, beats some guys up, and then turns herself into a USB. So, not the best career for him after, 2000? But recently, Besson has found more success in writing and producing action films through his film studio, EuropaCorp. Now, EuropaCorp, since its beginnings in 1992, has produced about 80 films. Some of the more well-known films would be the Transporter film series, the Taxi film series, and, of course, the Taken film series. But we're not talking about any of those films just yet. The one I want to talk about today is this one. District 13, or Ben Le 13, but whatever. Which also brings us to the second name on our list, Pierre Morel.
Luc il m'a appelé un jour sur mon téléphone, il m'a laissé un message genre ouais c'est Luc, tu veux pas passer me voir, j'ai un truc à te proposer. Ouais d'accord. Je le rappelle, je prends rendez-vous, je passe le voir le soir, il me dit ouais tu vas bien, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Bon, je lui raconte ce que je fais à ce moment-là, je tourne un autre film. Tu veux pas réaliser un film? C'est à moi que tu parles. Il m'a dit ouais je pense que je sais que tu voulu faire des courts-métrages, est-ce que ça t'intéresse de faire ça? Tu lis, tu me rappelles. J'ai lu, j'ai pas dormi de la nuit, je l'ai rappelé le lendemain en lui disant ouais ça m'intéresse, d'accord, il m'a dit d'accord, on commence en janvier, et c'était parti.
Now, story-wise, District 13, not a great film, but where it really differentiates itself is in its action. Two things really make this film stand out and make it worth watching. The first is the parkour, and the second is the action set pieces, which kind of goes with the parkour, but even the scenes without the parkour are phenomenal. Now, on a side note, this actually did get remade back in 2014 in America under the title Brick Mansions, starring the late great Paul Walker and David Bell, who was in the original film, reprising his role, of course, but you can definitely tell 10 years has passed. I don't know if it's the age or the director or whatever, but the parkour really isn't as good and just doesn't flow like the original film does, so I would definitely recommend checking out the original film first. Anyway, Pierre Morel does this film, District 13, and it does okay. Doesn't blow the doors off the box office, but it does well enough for Hollywood to come knocking, and sure enough, that's when we get Taken. Again, produced by Luc Besson. And this is where they actually have the budget for some quality actors. Enter Liam Neeson.
I was very aware of the AIDS thing, and I thought, I better do this and put a little notch in my belt for saying, "Oh, I've done an action movie," you know. So I was thrilled when Luke sent me the script, and he said, "Here's my little team of directors. Check this guy out, Pierre Morel." And it was District 13, which was just the most amazing little film, you know.
Needless to say, film, massive success, Liam Neeson, now an action star. Now, if there's one thing you know about Hollywood, it's that if they find a good thing, they will beat the shit out of that horse into the fucking ground and squeeze every drop of money they can get out of it. I need not provide any more evidence than 9 Fast and the Furious movies with another one on the way. So needless to say, after making bank with Taken, everyone wanted in. Suddenly, Liam Neeson playing a neglectful dad was the hottest property in town.
Her cousins asked us to spend vacation with them in Paris. I really, really want to go.
Now, let's break it down by the numbers. Liam Neeson wasn't all just guns blazing, he still does the odd drama. So let's take a look at the 2009 film Afterlife, where Liam Neeson plays a creepy funeral director that claims to transition the dead into the afterlife. There's no guns and explosions, no neglected children, no fighting with Eastern European gangs. What's the movie make at the box office? A paltry $2.4 million worldwide. Now, let's look at the 2011 action film Unknown, directed by Jean-Meg Collet-Serra, where Liam Neeson plays a guy waking up from a coma and killing some people, so needless to say, there's guns and explosions. You have him neglecting his wife, that's just as good as neglecting kids. He's fighting with the shady German people, and you know how much this movie makes? $136 million. Boom, baby! What about his other dramas, like the 2009 erotic thriller Chloe, or the 2017 political thriller Mark Felt, or the 2019 romantic drama Ordinary Love? Well, I can tell you that those films made fuck all, nothing, de l'esquat. So it didn't take Liam Neeson long and the rest of the Hollywood to realize that a winning combination of explosions, neglecting children, and fighting Eastern European gangsters was a winning combination. At this point, Liam Neeson is really hitting his stride. At the point of recording this, Neeson is 68 and still pumping out action flicks like this year's Honest Thief, and is currently in production on what can only be described as Cold Pursuit 2: The Ice Road.